I'm an industrial historian, and in the early 80s, I began work for the Massachusetts Historical Commission on a reconnaissance survey, which was a new idea at the time. And we developed a process by which we could look at the history of actually 3 towns in a week and write up that report. And in the late 80s, at a conference of the New York State Preservation League, I happened to meet Joan Davidson, and I was telling her about this project, and indeed a book that had come out of it called A Guide to the Industrial Archaeology of Boston Proper. And she suggested, well, could you write such a book for Columbia County? And at the time, I thought this was a very interesting idea. I knew something about Columbia County because of my family's earlier history here. And I said, well, why not? And on that basis, I began work in the spring of 1989 on looking at each one of the 18 towns in the city of Hudson, and spent about a little over a year working on it. Franklin Ellis is the historian who has really written the most about Columbia County in 1878, and there hasn't really been anything since then. His work was the most detailed up to that time, and it's been a real challenge to fill in the gap since then. Industrial archaeology is the study of past civilizations, past cultures, based on the artifacts of that culture. So it's not simply below ground archaeology. It can also be an above ground appreciation, an above ground study of what survives. So it's an old mill building. It could be even what they call now commercial archaeology, the study of our more recent past, such as diners or motels. And industrial archaeology informs us of our industrial landscape, what survives of the past in the present, and it's a very informative way of telling us, of providing a framework for a community's development. Industrial history provides us with a framework. It provides us with a timeline that shows how a community develops. It's also about what else the community brings with it. It brings with it their culture, their religious beliefs. It's the stores that come along with it. There's a whole culture that industrial history, the economy of the town, explores if you study it from the framework of industrial history. It's more unusual to find an area like this, Columbia County, which seems very green, as a powerhouse of industry, which is now largely ignored and forgotten, which is one of the challenges, one of the interesting things about doing this study.